My name is Pio Hartnett, and yes, that's my real name, as I'm sometimes asked. I spent a long time trying to come up with a good artist name, and then I realised that I didn't have to. I'm from Clifton, County Galway, which is in the west of Ireland. So lots of sheep, lots of rocks, lots of a few mountains. Well, it depends who you ask. We call them mountains. Other countries call them hills. But we're very proud of our hilly mountains, mountainous hills. I decided 5 years ago, after trying my best for many years to not be a musician because I was trying to be very good and sensible. And then I gave up on that 5 years ago and I said, okay, I'm going to move to Dublin because I thought that would be a good place to try and play music in Ireland so that I could meet other musicians and start going to open mics. And said a little prayer, hoped I could find some accommodation, somewhere to be able to work. And I thought I'll try it for 2 years. Let's just see what happens. And yeah, the rest is history.
My main gig will be production and recording, engineering, all the kind of behind the scenes stuff. Um, I suppose I grew up in Dublin, luckily enough. But I would have started. When I was a kid, like I think my parents are really into music. They don't play it, but they're like active music kind of consumers. They love listening to music, and they're mad for going to gigs and stuff. And I think they kind of like always encourage me to do the same. But like when you're a kid and whatever your parents want you to do, you just think it's really uncool. So I'm just like, no, I don't want to be a fucking guitarist, like kind of. So I actively went against it, and then I don't know what drove me to eventually pick up the guitar, but there was actually this guitar here. See this little guy here. My dad's friend gave this to me when I was like 8 or 9, just before he died actually. So he gave that to me, and then one day I think I was just kind of like bored in the house or something when I was like a kid, and then I just said, I'll give that guitar a go, and I just picked it up, and I was like, oh, I actually kind of enjoy this. And then I remember there was like a specific moment when I heard "Can't Stop" by Red Hot Chili Peppers on the radio one day while I was doing my homework in school, because I used to do my homework to the radio because I don't know, I just like doing that. So anyways, um I was like, oh, this is really cool, and I wanted to play like that then. So then I tried to play like that, and it ended up being really hard. And then I basically kind of like ended up being really curious and like, how do these people play so fast and so good and all? And then I got really into trying to learn the guitar really well, and then just one thing led to another.
I suppose this question is something me and Zach talk about a lot, because, and also for a bit of context, I suppose me and Zach would have met a few years back working with. There was an artist that we were both working with, and so we came across each other that way. And we've had a lot of conversations about this since. And I think one thing that I think we both would agree on about doing music, that you made me think of when you said the thing about, that it's kind of sad that art is this way where we kind of try to avoid it and that it isn't more supported. But it's funny, like I find it's a double-edged sword, because at the same time, part of what, like, you kind of like you I think I wonder if it's always been, how much has it always been this way, where you have to really want to do this, and in certain ways, because it's not really, like, art isn't something that you can easily quantify the good from. It goes beyond, oh, make this song and you will produce this profit, right? It doesn't have utility in the same way that other things do. Where I know if I make some, I don't know, some like steel or something, somebody's going to need steel. But with a song, you make a song, maybe everyone's going to love it, maybe no one will care. It's got this beautiful subjective thing going on to it, which is part of what I love about it, is the the that aspect to it. So it's kind of like you can't really have one without the other. And I suppose all of us that sign up for this madness of being any part of this world of making music and making art, I think it's something that you have to come to terms with. And I think it's something where, like, me and Zach have talked before about, and I'd be interested. Zach will be able to articulate this better than me, but Like you don't do it because, oh yeah, sure, wouldn't that be a great career path? You do it because you just, I don't know, you just kind of have to
You just
do it.
have to.
You just feel compelled to do it.
I try not to be like idealistic when I think about it too, because at the end of the day, so many people want to do it, and there's only so much attention that people can give it to, and the market is very saturated and saturated with a lot of people who may think that they're better than they are, and they're it's a real thing. Like it's a really tough industry, and I think yeah, I think to be in it, you kind of have to be, or to be in it and doing well, you have to be in it for a long time, and for that to be the case, I think you, as Pio says, have to do it.
I'm going to show you the last picture, the last picture that Zach shared with me on Instagram here. Do you remember this, Zach? Based on what you're saying there.
Yeah, actually,
So,
it's kind of similar to this. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
similar to what we're
So this
talking about.
is little Rick Rubin quote. So he says, "There's a visceral reaction when you know something's good, and it doesn't have to make sense. It's not intellectual. It transcends intellect." And now, Zach, you'll enjoy what Zach put beneath this. He said, "Bait this into your head." you know, it's a struggle because you want to, again, with that pressure. I feel that pressure with there being so much music out there, and so much great music. It's not like it's all like all the music's bad. There's a lot of great music out there, and you feel this I feel there's a pressure to make, oh man, your debut project better be amazing. Every single single you drop better be amazing. It better change the world. So like I get, like you're saying, that kind of that, oh, what are they going to say about me and this article thing? What am I saying about society? Then I've got to say something. This has got to, what's the article going to be? And you put you get things in the wrong order, and instead of writing something that is intuitive and that is real and that's grounded and that's authentic, you've gone to making a product. You've gone to doing the whole thing that art was supposed to be, the one place where you didn't have to do that.
I also think though, when you say like not everyone's going to be Bjork or Radiohead, also just to throw in, me and Pio are Radiohead super fans, but anyway,
Sure, it's great.
especially Pio.
Maybe
Um,
try that.
but anyway, I think I also think that a lot of people say that and use it as an excuse to not be the best that they can be. And I think that even if you are in kind of like a niche community, I
Mm,
think another thing that you need to like that you need to do if you're going to do this is that you have to do everything to be the best as you can be, because
mm.
otherwise you might as well just give up. Like, unless it's a hobby, of course, just do your thing. But I mean, if you actually want to pursue it, like,
It was a case
kind of a
where,
bit of both.
yeah, I realized at a certain point, I can remember where I was when I realized what all the songs kind of had in common as it was starting to come together. I was in the kitchen, it was the afternoon, and I was also trying to come up with what kind of name the project would have, and I realized like they were all about they all this thing kept coming up for me, and this is again going back to that thing of trying to just be genuine and trying to actually at least attempt to do the work of seeing um, what's actually, I don't know, what's actually, yeah, what's going on at a subjective level, instead of trying to go out there and write, oh, like what's like, I don't know, what's, yeah, again, trying to write a song for the article. And I just realized that I was like, wow, I really love these songs. Seem to be about, I think it was about trying to become this person, or trying to like prepare and trying to going through my 20s, and yeah, trying to be ready for whatever's to come, like whatever's ahead, and trying to actually become a person that is worthy of the opportunities that might lie ahead, if that makes sense. To not want to sound too flowery about it. But that was, and then that was, yeah, so that was what seemed to be coming through. Zach, I don't know what your take is on that.
Yeah, and I think, well, I think one thing that you forgot to say or something was that I mean, the name cargo actually comes from just kind of having all these kind of, I suppose, ideas and thoughts and trying to
Hmm.
get them from one place to another in a safe manner. I often find that like when I'm like trying to finish a production on a song, like I always know what it should sound like, and I don't often, nearly always, don't know how to get there, like from a technical standpoint, and I just kind of fuck around with it until it sounds the way I know it should sound, like, do you know, kind of way.
Yeah.
Um, that brings me to another point that I always like to talk about, and I think that, and it's another thing that our friend Rick Rubin talks about a lot. You know, I think taste is kind of our boy. Yeah, I think taste is the defining factor between the good and the great, and sometimes you just kind of have to know when something is good. And that is something, as Pio says, transcends intellect. And I think the guys who really go far are the ones who just kind of know, oh, this is actually good. No, you can literally do anything you want. There may be consequences. There always is consequences, but you can literally do anything you want.
Yeah. And Zach would say this to me a lot during the processes of us making this thing, right? I'd be like, oh, maybe we should do this song this way. Like, I remember we were working, the last song that we worked on the whole project was I Don't Mind. And we were in the house here actually. And we were here with our friend Rachel and we were working on the song. And I was like, oh, I was kind of stressing because I was doing the lyrics in a bit more of an organic and a bit more of a kind of intuitive way. There's only a couple of songs on the project where they were come up within quite a short space of time. A lot of the lyrics were kind of labored, and I had decided, oh, it's not supposed to be this way, and it was one of those occasions where Zach was like, Zach didn't had the, and this is the great thing about, not trying to do everything yourself, and why I'm like, I think that something really great has happened over the past number of years with me, since being able to meet Zach and us working together over the past few years now, is we have different strengths and different, different things we're good at, different perspectives, and it brings out this more rounded thing where I don't think that song was gonna make it. It wasn't gonna survive. I was like, this isn't coming together, and he was like, record, like, we're going, you're going on that microphone, and he could hear it when I couldn't hear it. So there's moments like, if I can go, jump in here, Zach. I want to say that, yeah, like I think with, it kind of goes in my mind. All of this stuff goes together with what you were saying earlier about like this project being a bit of a like, you know, yeah, we were kind of there was definitely a bit of trying to stick it to this, the whole way that you're supposed to do things, and I think that's been a marker of the relationship with me and Zach from the beginning, where like we met back in, it was maybe a little bit like during the lockdowns. We started, like, I released a song with my friend Toby, and Toby was like, oh, you got to hit this guy, like our guy Zach, up for the master. And so Zach mastered the song, but he messaged me and he said, let me do more next time. That was what the message said, you know. And
I
yes,
liked it.
yeah, because he liked the song. Yeah, exactly. Like love hearts and stuff. I was like, bro, just chill, man. All right, I get it. Yeah, it was written in the stars. But yeah. So like, we ended up doing a studio session with some artists that Zach invited me to come and join, and we ended up working together for like about 9 months, doing writing sessions, production sessions on a weekly over Zoom, and we just kind of, yeah, there was just a good. I think we were on the same page in a lot of ways, and yeah, I can't remember exactly where I was going with this thought. What was your question again? Yeah, I just have so many things now
Yeah,
that
so
you've got me
yeah,
thinking of so many things I want to say. But what were you saying? What were you asking about?
I think a lot of this comes down to it comes down to kind of the industry nature of it too, why that happens. You know, like I think like a producer should be like an additional member of the band, really, because when you think about their creative input, it matters so much. Like I mean, obviously, I think songwriting is always number one. Um, Not to say that the producer can't help in that. Which I sometimes do have to step in, not with Pio because Pio's as good as they get, but um, but anyway, my point is that like it's you're an integral part of the band, really, and I feel like sometimes often what happens is it's kind of seen as a service industry, so like you would kind of go in and you would just be like, oh, what do you want me to do? And I'm not really giving my kind of creative input to a lot of people, that kind of way. Whereas me and Pio, see, like, I'll give you a bit of backstory. So like me and Pio, like before we started working together, I was kind of in a stage where like I was making all right money from music. I was getting by with it, I was surviving off it. Um, and doing a lot of mixing work and stuff, and the ad production job. But I was kind of getting to a stage where like I was working on a lot of music, and almost all of it I didn't like. And even though I was kind of getting by financially, I kind of came to a decision where like, I kind of a thought crossed my mind. Like I was like, what's the actual point of doing this? Like, why am I actually doing this? And like when I'm doing all this sort of stuff and not actually in like liking what I'm even putting, like I wouldn't show it to my friends because I thought it was shit. Like so why would I keep on doing that? Why would I keep on doing that? So I said, why don't I find some artists that I actually really like, and make just do everything that I can to kind of make the best stuff possible with them. Get a second job, and just do everything that I can just to make the best stuff possible. Um, and that's basically what we did, and it ended up becoming less of a kind of a service job as it would have been in the past with other people, and more of a kind of like collaboration between the two of us just to make the best thing possible. I mean, obviously, when we have two kind of brains that kind of uh, believe a lot of the same things, but also kind of work differently in a way that complements each other. You get something good at the end of the day, and I think that's basically what happened. I have one in particular, but I kind of have three. My one in particular that like I absolutely rinsed last year, like so much. Was, I don't know if you know the band. They're a small enough Canadian band called Peach Pit. Their most recent album from 2 to 3, and in fact, basically all their whole discography last year, I completely rinsed it. And I think Peach Pit are just such a good example of just like really simple vanilla songwriting. That's just really good. They just get the basics. They get the basics so right. Like it's just so right. And anyways, I rinsed them last. Actually, funny story about Peach Pit. They were playing in Dublin, and I was meant to be going to Italy the next day, and for whatever reason, I wasn't able to go because of work, and I was in a terrible mood. And then I found out Peach Pit were playing in Dublin, and I realized I'd been listening to them all year, and I didn't know they were playing in Dublin. So then I scoured the internet for tickets. I couldn't find any tickets, and I basically just went onto their Instagram, saw that they had their Gmail in their bio. So I was like, I'm gonna hit up their Gmail. And I was like, hey guys, you guys know if there's any tickets, anybody selling tickets, let me know or whatever. They got back to me and they put me on the guest list. See that? 2 tickets for
Amazing.
Zak Higgins. Look at that.
They spelled your name right and everything.
So funny. But anyways, that was my main one that I was really obsessed with. But then also, there's an older album from the War on Drugs. I don't know if you know them. They're a band from Philadelphia. A deeper understanding. I don't know if you know that one. I listen to the radio a lot, especially when I'm driving. And there's a really good radio show in Ireland, called the John Creedon show on Radio One at like late at night time. I listen to it like most nights when I'm driving, and I found so many good songs in that. But anyways, I was driving home one time, and the song "Strangest Thing" came on the radio. I was like, "What is this?" And it went on for so long, and it just didn't get boring. And I was like, "What the hell?" And then anyways, I went to listen to the album. Then all the songs are like 11 minutes, and they're like catchy pop tunes, and they just don't get boring. It's crazy.
Me and Zach, we end up listening to a lot of the same music. I don't know how much it's gone. I like to think some of my influences have gone his way, but his have definitely come my way. I mean, yeah, I've listened to both those two projects, for example, a lot this past year. But I'd say recently I started going back to this project by Wesley Joseph. He's English and he put out a project last year called Ultramarine. I don't know if you've come across him, but I'd recommend it. It's really good. It's a little bit of this, bit of that. It's a bit like, I don't know. I hate talking about genres, just like everybody. But yeah, I don't know. It's like a bit of hip hop, bit of R&B, bit of pop, bit of, I don't know. And he was known as, he would have been a producer, and he wanted to do the artist thing, and he's really good at it. He was a director as well, so it's interesting. I feel like his the way that he thinks about film comes into the way that he arranges the song, which is cool. It's very, yeah, it's very visual, but not in an over the top, hey, I'm a director way. It's just, it feels like, I suppose, whatever person you are, the music you write, if you do it right, I think it's going to reflect that. It's going to reflect you, you know, and it just, it's this cool, very, I don't know, very chocolatey reflection. It's just, there's loads of, yeah.